On into it as the players are ready, we are ready. Game 1 is going to be played on Crimson Court. And in the bottom left side, we're looking at the main base of one of the players who I'd say is a serious outsider to win it all this time around. Representing big, it is ShoWTimE.
And his opponent in the upper right, he's playing for Navi. It's Spirit. So Roddy, you know, I put it on the banner, but this matchup feels to me like an immovable object versus an immovable object, right? Spirit and ShoWTimE, both they can get aggressive on occasion, but this is two players characterized by their macro play, getting up to 4 bases, 5 bases, playing defensively. And, you know, if you have two immovable objects running into each other, how does that work?
Nothing moves.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think we're just talking a draw.
Game never ends.
Hey, yeah, it could be a draw, right? In TVP, I feel out of all the matchups, this is the one that most often ends up in a draw, where a bunch of Zealots and Stalkers cannot kill that final flying barracks in the corner of the map if we didn't open up with a Stargate. So maybe that's what we are in for. I wouldn't hate it. People love draws. They love seeing stuff that's a bit different. We have a Marine first, by the way, coming out of Spirit, so he's not going to open up with a Reaper. Spirit is going full Spirit here, proper greedy boy. No SCV scout, Marine first. A little bit risky, but I guess if you want to do this against one Protoss, it is ShoWTimE.
Yeah, and you know what also going that Marine first gives you, on top of you can just go Marine expand, and the SCV got very low, but on top of that, what that gives you is it gives you a quicker access to your next round attack, a quicker reactor, a quicker factory, maybe going for one extra Widowmine at the Widowmine drop, doing something. I don't think this is Spirit necessarily, but you can go for Banshees or something like that, because again, you're not spending that gas on the first Reaper. You're getting yourself into things just a little bit faster, which is kind of interesting to talk about, because again, this is Spirit, and the concept of him moving on the map before like 7 minutes, 8 minutes just feels weird.
Yeah, but I think there was a time where Spirit was actually a very big fan of permanently cloaked Widowmine drops, you know, and the armory would still just cloak the mines forever. I actually think that's something he really enjoyed. He wouldn't use it too often in the smaller tournaments, but whenever he was on the biggest stage or he was playing for a lot of prize money, he would often go for that. This is why I was worried, by the way, about Marine first into low ground expand without a scout. If there was a proxy gate, this game would actually be over, by the way. Like, ShoWTimE would show up with 2 Stalkers at this point. Yeah, good luck and fun. Even when you get a Cyclone out, the Cyclone is not going to win the fight against 3 Stalkers. This is very, very risky what Spirit is doing. He's going to lose, I think, at least another SCV here. That is more delayed time on this command center from finishing up. At least the Cyclone is going to be able to pick off one Adept. I don't like the start at all for Spirit, especially because I think it's very easy for ShoWTimE to now scout that this is going to be a triple CC setup, and I assume ShoWTimE is just going to play Phoenix Colossus from here. He's not a big Phoenix Zealot believer like I am and some of the other Protosses in Europe, so I expect Phoenix Colossus, so maybe this will still work out for Spirit, but it can't feel good to lose 2 SCVs this early and have all this delayed time on your original orbital, which obviously means later mules as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. I think this is also going to be and we see the Robo on the way, so Phoenix Colossus getting started. I think it's also kind of a stylistic thing, right, Roddy? Where if ShoWTimE's playing, I don't know, Beyond, for example, he's probably not going to go Phoenix Colossus because he knows Beyond is going to get very aggressive early. Going Phoenix Charge Lot is very nice for that type of style. The Terran player moves on the map, you surround him with the Zealots, everything gets lifted, you annihilate the army, and then you run across the map, and it becomes very hard for the Terran. But again, given the Spirit player who generally is going to be a little bit more defensive, taking a 3rd base before he takes, or taking a 4th base before he does whatever, that is where Phoenix Colossus can be really solid. It gives you this opportunity. It gives this really strong fighting army that eventually, when the Spirit tries to move out, well, it's like, yeah, I have 3 Colossus. I've got 7 Phoenix, and this first fight is just very, very hard for the Terran player to take.
ShoWTimE keeping all these Phoenixes at home, by the way, does surprise me a little bit, because I felt it was somewhat obvious that Spirit was playing triple CC here, even though maybe ShoWTimE thought, nah, there's no way it's triple CC, because if he did that, he would have always built a bunker, and playing triple CC without a bunker is crazy. Maybe that delayed bunker actually sold this well. ShoWTimE is now going to get in, so he knows exactly what is up. Still think there's potential for these Phoenixes to try to find a stray SCV here and there. A bit difficult against double Cyclone, but it's absolutely not impossible, because even if the lock-ons go down, Phoenixes have a lot of HP. Sure, they can lock on, they can soften up a Phoenix, but I still think the Phoenixes should be able to grab a couple SCVs here and there.
Alright, it's not just double cyclone, it's triple cyclone, which I think the point's still the same there, but man, Spirit is really committed to making sure that, yeah, he took some damage early on with the Adepts and delayed his natural. From this point onwards, there are very few worlds where ShoWTimE really gets much damage done with the Phoenix between the missile turrets and the Marine count and triple cyclone all over the place. So there is that. And now Spirit, third base on the map, just about to go on location before 6 minutes. His economy is going great, but so too is ShoWTimE's third base. Is, again, you take it a little slower, right? Because this is Phoenix Colossus, but he's developing his economy well. He's got all the tech that he could possibly want. And generally in this matchup, you know, we talk about these two players playing defensively. Generally in this matchup, it is the Terran player that wants to get aggressive. Eventually, yeah, late game Terran's scary. But in this mid game, if the Terran hasn't been leaning on the Protoss player, hasn't been getting damage done, been forcing them back, this timing, this Phoenix Colossus timing, or just Colossus timing in general, becomes very hard for a Terran to defend.
Especially if we supply block them ourselves, and Spirit definitely was supply block there for a little while. At 77 out of 77, it was pretty gnarly. You had to wait a long time for all of those depots to finish up. Yeah, like the Phoenix and Colossus are already problematic. I think where it becomes very problematic is if they also add in the quick Templar archives, because Archon's maybe not the best unit ever in this matchup, as ShoWTimE really wanted to get those two mines. Would love to see a scan here from Spirit. He should know there is an observer, otherwise ShoWTimE cannot possibly lift those mines, and he is going to try to unscan. I wouldn't say that was that bad for Spirit, by the way. Getting an observer like that, you lose two mines. Against Phoenix Colossus, I don't think mines are mega impactful, unless ShoWTimE would play it the way that Nice did it earlier, where he goes very quick. Second Stark and then Fleet Beacon, and Spirit picked up a bunch of units, is going to lose a medevac with 5 Marines inside of it. I mean, after 7 minutes, it does feel that this is mostly ShoWTimE. I'm happy to see that Ghost Academy, but a quick Ghost Academy means a later second starport. And our latest second starport means that your Viking count is not going to be that sexy, and you're not going to have the amount of Vikings that you really want to have against the combination of Phoenixes and Colossus.
Yeah, we have 0 anti-Colossus tech on the map for Spirit right now. Generally, it's like, you know, maybe second starport or single starport, but I got like 3 tanks. I got 4 tanks. I'm one-shotting Colossus. I have this at some level of anti-Colossus tech. He doesn't have that, right? He's getting ghosts on the map, +1 armor on the way, but there is absolutely nothing to deal with these 3 or maybe even 4 Colossus if Spirit decides, or ShoWTimE decides to go for it. There's nothing that handles that. And by the way, we talk about ShoWTimE, this defensive Protoss player. Look at his vision on the map. This +1 pylon vision. I know it's been memed upon and we joke about it. ShoWTimE's vision of pretty much everywhere but the center of the map, which is actually, you know, you want the center of the map. That's actually really important. That's where the Terran's going to attack from. But his vision on the edges is massive. There's no drops that Spirit can go for that ShoWTimE's not going to see.
And we even saw that already, right? Spirit picked up 2 medevacs full of units, and before it even left his natural, ShoWTimE was already all over it. Spirit needs to drop an armory, by the way. +1 is done, and +1 armory is close to finishing up. There comes the armory, so that's nice. I mean, at least we've got a nice little macro game going on over here. 9 minutes in, not a crazy amount has happened yet. ShoWTimE, I do think, is feeling very good about it, because I feel that ShoWTimE likes playing this matchup as long as he can become the 4-base Protoss that he feels confident and happy with. And he is going to be a 4-base Protoss with double Forge, at least double Robo for now, maybe triple or quad Robo in the future. Spirit is setting up a double drop in the top left. ShoWTimE's Phoenixes have not quite been able to punish that yet. The ShoWTimE now moving out of position, even though that army is there. Hey, this is actually working out well for Spirit. Spirit is at the bare minimum going to grab that prism in the top left, going to grab a couple pylons. What the hell are the Phoenixes doing, man? Wait, he lost them.
Wait, what?
Where did he lost 4 Phoenix.
Was that I feel like that's got to have been off like an F2, the same thing that maybe got the warp for some. I'm not sure, but all of a sudden, like, the whole goal of Phoenix Colossus is A, you're not vulnerable to drops really at all. B, you have these Phoenix for the fight, so you can lift tanks or ghosts or marauders, or at the very least, it's just an HP buffer, so the Vikings are fighting the Phoenix and not the Colossus, and it happens. And until you have a good number of Blink Stalkers out, now finally Blink is done, the Phoenix are your everything anti-Colossus tech. Double negatives may be damned for now. So losing out on that before everything is properly ready is a bit of a problem. Dropping the main base as well here. Where's ShoWTimE's army? It's not defending the main base all that easily. It's not defending the third base. And as much as we've been saying, hey, the vision here for ShoWTimE's fantastic. Spirit's not really getting what he wants on the map. He's being very passive here. All of a sudden.
Oh, man. What a moment to pause as well. But yes, I mean, those drops are successful because the Phoenixes were gone. And if the Phoenixes were gone, then Spirit can make drops like that. And you can really see that ShoWTimE was fumbling the ball a little bit. He even had a Nova explode at the bottom side of his army. Thank the Lord for ShoWTimE that it didn't blow up his own units, but that's very uncharacteristic. Normally ShoWTimE is really on top of where his units are, and he won't just be F2 firing Novas in the middle of nowhere. ShoWTimE is in trouble, might be able to save this base. This is obviously a very awkward moment for us to have to pause. For us it's awkward, for the players it's mega awkward. Supply is still there for D-Mauer, right? He lost a couple probes, but all 4 bases are still alive for now. He's got a battery overcharge that's active on the left, so maybe he can save that Nexus. But yeah, I'm so eager to go back into the replay because I felt like, this is a slow and steady game. I'm just following the observing of Niall. I was like, not a worry in the world. And all of a sudden I was like, where are the Phoenix? And he lost 4 of them. So I'm really curious to see what happened to them. And obviously we'll get to the bottom of it, guys. Probably just accidentally clicked them above the Terran army somewhere, and I don't think we had any Widow Mines anymore, so I don't know what happened. I do know it's a big deal because this now allows Spirit to obviously all of a sudden be a lot more adventurous and get into the face of ShoWTimE. Players are ready, by the way, so let's go ahead. No, they're not ready.
No, ShoWTimE was ready, but
yeah.
And it's kind of funny you talk about this as well, and like I would have believed it if ShoWTimE suddenly paused, because like, man, ShoWTimE making uncharacteristic mistakes. He's nothing's where it has to be. It could be, some sort of latency issue, but Spirit, the one that really blew this game wide open. I almost thought that there was going to be a world where the third base went down in all the chaos of that one. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Where Spirit goes here. So he's got his second starport now, right? He's getting himself further into the late game. And PvT is weird, right? Where a Protoss that's allowed to grow to 4 bases, pretty much unfettered, feels very hard for the Terran player to deal with. But once the Terran gets onto 4 bases, once they get double starport, fleet beacon, or not fleet beacon, but the other one, right? When they get extended range liberators, and suddenly they start to have this even later fusion core. Thank you. Do the dance.
By the way, they're ready. Let's go, because they're battling immediately. So I think we should swap over. Spirit has decided to disengage, guys, as soon as they unpause, but the drop that was active in the main has now unloaded in the triangle base. He takes out a pylon, unpowers the static defenses, grabs 10 probes in total. Whew. I mean, ShoWTimE not down and out yet, but he is in a very uncomfortable spot, especially because he just only has 6 stalkers, and if the stalker count is low, that's where you truly wish you still had those Phoenix, because you need one of the 2 to deal with medevacs.
Yeah, no, it's a problem that this Warp Prism's not going to be particularly effective either. Taking a massive Widow Mine shot now means that like 20% hull, it's really hard to get across the map and make something happen from that perspective. So
man, what a drop.
That's I mean, you knock that down, that's 50 supply, but also, I mean, for now, we're going to see one it's not even going to get targeted down for the time being. Big drop in the main base, and I believe, yeah, the recall's already been used. So there is nothing here to defend properly. Colossus tries to show up on the high ground. Zealots are going to show up. Man, SimCity is not their friend. This is not a position you want to be in. This Colossus is dead if Spirit decides to jump on top of it. He is content to just knock all the economy down, knock all the infrastructure down. +3 denied as well, and now up through the middle, maybe this one is not going to work out. There are Colossus and Archons there, but this centuple drop in the main base. We talked about the last setup blowing this game wide open. This game is cracked open now. It's in 2. ShoWTimE is in a really rough spot.
Yep, and if I was Spirit, I would just keep on going. You're maxed out, your opponent is not maxed out, you probably supply block them for a little bit by taking out all the pylons first in the main, then in the triangle, then in the main again. So it's okay to just keep on trading, because as long as you can keep that supply low, it should be very doable for you to find more and more damage. Here is a big army. The disruptor count is somewhat healthy though. We're looking at 5 disruptors. Attacking into that can be difficult, but I think as long as you just dance around them, keep on disengaging the moment those balls are coming your way, and you apply pressure elsewhere, I don't see any reason for Spirit to slow down. And you mentioned that Fusion Core BO, it's there, +3 attack on the way. ShoWTimE still in trouble. He's on wobbly legs, but he's not out yet.
No, man, those Vikings, by the way, and the push on the top side were allowed to just do damage a lot longer than they should have. And yeah, we didn't see a Colossus go down, but I think hull damage was done. And when you talk about this setup, your Colossus need to be healthy. They can be so fragile otherwise. And now this drop into the main base, once again, trying to get more damage done. ShoWTimE, he's got 3-2 on the way. Again, that forge going down is a big deal, but if he can establish his presence on the map a little bit more, take this high ground base, hold the high ground ramp maybe with the Colossus, life can start to become a little bit easier until those freedom zones start to show up everywhere. But it's so hard. And now, I mean, ShoWTimE, after the game got cracked wide open by Spirit, as he establishes his position on the map a little bit more, as he starts to stabilize, he's doing a very nice job of just making sure that, well, the damage that Spirit got was a lot of damage. But he's not allowing more to happen.
There come those circles in the center of the map though, and this is where it becomes a lot harder for these disruptors to be very impactful. I mean, there are 3-4 fights happening right now. A couple Zealots are going to town on SCVs, but it's actually good for Spirit to lose a few SCVs. I'm not saying you should lose 40, but if you're maxed out and you've got money in the bank, you've got 3-3, there's no need for 80 SCVs anymore. That's where you need more army supply, as Spirit wants all the bases. I mean, he's gonna get a bunch of bases, but sweet baby Jesus does the expose his army, and he actually loses a ridiculous amount of army supply. This is where maybe Spirit needs to take a tiny second and be like, hey, let's make sure that I still have an army in case there is a devastating counterattack.
I mean, there is a devastating counterattack on the way. This is a massive army from ShoWTimE. Yeah, it's lacking the upgrade seed, like, certainly, but it's 100 army supply to 75. ShoWTimE here. A lot of this army, though, not only does it not have shields because Ghost impede, a lot of exposed hull. A lot of these units are very low. So even as we say, look at the 100 army supply to 82 now. ShoWTimE knocks the base down. A good surround. This army can still turn into paper. So ShoWTimE, he's got a good push. Absolutely getting a lot of counter damage done, but he has to be careful in how he looks to take the fight even further. Because again, one big surround, EMP is on top of everything, and things will explode. The question is it fighting this planetary the right idea for now? Spirit's gonna have to get away from the circles, get away from those purification novas. And it seems like at the moment, ShoWTimE is not going to be able to break that second base down. And ever so slowly, those freedom zones, those circles are going to get closer and closer, and it just forces him to back up even more. Spirit trying to take the fight now, and it looks like ShoWTimE can't get any more.
No, this really is the hard and the rock place that people often talk about. Do you want to attack the planetary? No. Do you want to walk into a Terran that is waiting for you to step into freedom circles and a bunch of ghosts ready to impede your entire army? Probably also no. So yeah, where do you go? It's difficult. In the end, ShoWTimE says, what about Colossus from the low ground and a Warp Prism in the main? That's cute. He's gonna find even more SCVs, and earlier I said Spirit probably should have gotten rid of a couple of them. He has lost over 30 now, so this is the point where Spirit probably says, alright ShoWTimE, that's enough. I really don't want to lose anymore. But Spirit's army is incredibly strong though. Even if you forgot +3 armor, he just never really fired it up. +3 attack, all these libs. The ghost count is at 7. Like, I'm afraid that if the armies actually stand there and clash, Spirit's army is a lot more powerful than ShoWTimE's army. ShoWTimE, I think, knows that, so he's going to try to outmaneuver the army and just keeps on firing Novas, and he gets a few more SCVs.
I mean, part of the problem as well as we talk about these armies, a solid 21 of ShoWTimE's supply are literally balloons. It's a bunch of it's a bunch of Archons at this point. I mean, with Ghosts on, I mean, this is a nice move moving around where Spirit was. I don't think he's got them. I mean, Archons do not kill structures. Or they kill Zerg structures fast, but nothing else. They do bonus damage to bio. Sure, they kill off a lot of bio, but they don't bust planetaries down. So I liked the move from ShoWTimE. He did a great job of outmaneuvering Spirit's army. Unfortunately, the army that he has is not well set up to kill structures. This drop on the north side is going to force a recall once again. He's going to get the medevac. Okay, gets one of the medevacs. Gets a lot of these marauders. And now this fight in the middle here, all of a sudden, liberation zones on everything. This is what Spirit was looking for. All the tech is just gone.
What a moment to go for it by Spirit immediately. He realized the recall on the left and he said, all right, that means that your army in the center of the map got smaller. My army was already bigger, now it's a whole lot bigger. He went forward immediately, dropped the EMPs, and ShoWTimE just couldn't really stand there and fight. ShoWTimE does have +3 attack and +2 armor now, and even +3 armor is well on its way as he blinks forward, guns down these Liberators too. That's a lot of believing gateway units, and it seems like it was the right cause. The army of Spirit is a bit overstimmed. I mean, this is the chaos bio that we were hoping for, the fireworks that the playoffs are supposed to bring in the ESL Masters. And this game is just mental. 138 supply a pop, and we are still fighting at 2 or even 3 different locations at once.
You know, some people say TVZ is the best matchup in the game, and we've had some incredible TVZs, but this is why, for my money, PBT is just the most consistently really exciting matchup. It's all over the place, both players trying to break each other. We're in this problem now where it's 2 Liberators, they have range, they have +1 attack, no +2, which is actually a big deal when we talk about 2-shotting Stalkers. but it's hard to attack into. Now, the other problem for Spirit, though, is he's only on 4 bases. His economy is only on 46 SCVs. That's not a lot of gas. Liberators are expensive. So this army that he's building, he's committing to the tech units, and certainly it seems like he's going to knock this base down. But eventually, if there's another fight or two where ShoWTimE takes it really well, knocks Liberators down, can deal with reinforcements, it's going to be hard for Spirit to go and rebuild the Liberators, right? The gas count, the gas income is not really going to be there. And at that point, suddenly ShoWTimE's army, it becomes a lot more powerful.
ShoWTimE goes forward again as he blinks forward, tries to gun down the lips immediately. Takes a little while this time around as Spirit splits off a couple of Marauders, guns down that Nova that had a lot of potential. This one falls a couple of inches short. So in the end, I think that worked out well for Spirit. ShoWTimE was temporarily knocked back to being a 4-base Protoss, but since he's double expanding, he's about to go from 4 all the way back up to 6. While Spirit is still just kind of hard stuck on those 4 bases, of which at least 2 are planetaries. What Spirit could do is maybe float over that orbital and retake the triangle that he had earlier. But I think he's afraid of all these potential Zealot run-bys, as there is just so much happening in this game. And it's hard for both players to really keep track of the opponent's army as the Novas keep on collecting or keep on connecting. ShoWTimE has a big army in the top left side, but those minerals have not been mined out yet, so he couldn't actually go through, but he will find this double drop.
No, he will as well. And you talked about, okay, look, Spirit's on 2,500 minerals a minute. His economy it looks fine. That's only because he's muling. The main base is mined out. Natural is going to be mined out soon. 3rd base as well. So as much as the economy on 4 bases for Spirit's allowing him to build this 117 supply army, stay ahead of ShoWTimE's total supply, that income's going to end very quickly. We are a minute, maybe 2 minutes away from all of a sudden Spirit's economy going cratering. So there's another command center on the way, probably going to be a planetary, maybe on that triangle position. Actually, no, he's floating his main base over the triangle, taking your advantage there. So Spirit, this is where it gets a little scary. All of a sudden, ShoWTimE's on the map again. All of a sudden, ShoWTimE is able to get aggressive. And as Spirit commits to this next round of economy that he desperately needs, this is where the map gets a little more open for ShoWTimE, where he can maybe go and make something happen. But at the same margin, ShoWTimE's bases are all over the map, and drops punish this very well.
What is happening over here? What fight to look at? We are attacking the planetary. We're dropping in the top left. We're dropping at the bottom. The army is going to get fully around that PF, and that's kind of mandatory. Otherwise, the SCVs would have just kept it alive forever. In the end, Spirit, his drop, still going strong at the bottom side of the map, by the way. So the top left is a success for Spirit, and the bottom was a bit of a success as well. He did lose one of the PFs, but he's got orbitals for days. This is a dance that I just don't think you really want to take when it comes down to Terran players, because those orbitals from the beginning of the game, they will start floating over again. ShoWTimE knows that he needs a victory somewhere. I just don't think he can find it near a planetary.
I mean, you look, Roddy, he's got those death circles. He's got the purification novas. He's got these disruptors. And, you know, if you talk to Terran players, they're going to say that it doesn't matter. As long as you got novas, as long as you got those disruptors, there's always a shot. So it's going to have to be a big shot, though, from this point. ShoWTimE down 50 army supply, 10 workers. He didn't lose the bottom right base, but lost a lot of workers at it. Lose the north side base. There's no Templar archives now, which I don't think he ever got stormed, but no Archons available. Base on the north side all the way for Spirit. And for the 2nd or 3rd time this game, all of a sudden the game's been cracked wide open once again. Disruptor on the high ground is not going to give him the shot that he needs, and this base is going to get taken down. Now, there were no probes there. It was not mining anymore. Run by on the other side. Roddy, this game is bonkers.
It really is, but it's heavily favoring Spirit at this point. ShoWTimE's army was just kind of indecisive there for a little while, not totally certain where it was supposed to go to. That is a nice Nova on SCVs in the top side of the map, but his Liberator single-handedly completely shut down that bottom base. Then in the end, Marines and Marauders finished it off. There are like just trains of probes of ShoWTimE being transferred first from the top left to the bottom right, now from the bottom right somewhere towards the left side again. But this Protoss army is just not getting any bigger. Meanwhile, the Terran army is still growing and it's becoming more and more intimidating. I think ShoWTimE is about to get surrounded. We have Marauders and Marines coming in from 2 or 3 different angles. Liberators will spread justice from above, and I think that this is it. ShoWTimE cannot replace this army, and I feel that ShoWTimE is not supposed to save this army, but Spirit showed a lot of respect to it. In the end, though, it does go Spirit's way. What an absolutely fantastic first game between these two. Hey, if this is just a little appetizer, the rest of this best of 5 is going to be amazing.
Man, you know, like we suffered, not suffered. Any day you're talking about StarCraft, any day you're watching good, high level StarCraft is a good day. But we had some underwhelming series through the first 4. I think that's fair to say. And if we have to put up with some underwhelming series to get 4 more games, hopefully, of what we just saw on Crimson Court, yeah, Roddy, you know, that's a trade I'm willing to take, I think. I think that's that's a very fair one.
So obviously I had to double check to see what happened to those Phoenixes. And nothing like super explosive happened. It's just that ShoWTimE, we complimented him for his map vision. And that was partly because of those pylons that were very well sprinkled out. But he also just had a Phoenix in the top left, a Phoenix on the left side of the center, a Phoenix on the right side of the center, and then 2 on the right. Spirits pushes through the center. He picks off the first Phoenix, shows him, he's like, oh no, that's the army. So he brings back the other 2, but then one more gets locked on, another one gets locked on, then he saves one, but then he brings it back over his own triangle. So he just kind of lost one within the time span of like 35 seconds while he was focused and distracted, I think, by that double drop on the top left, where the War Prism also came back and flew over that army. That's where he lost the Phoenixes. Not all at once, just kind of one at a time within 25 seconds from each other.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You look at games like this, certainly when both players are kind of playing NR10, you know, no rush 8 or something. I don't know what you want to say. But they're playing very defensively. They're playing very macro focused, where it's so in the early game, losing a single unit can make the difference between victory and defeat at this highest level. You lose a stalker, it's a really rough time. But you know, single mistake like that, when you, again, there's not been a lot of engagement, all of a sudden, Spirit's ShoWTimE misclicks for a little bit. He F2s when he shouldn't have, and suddenly the game gets cracked wide open, and then ShoWTimE, he's fighting the next 10 minutes trying to make a comeback happen. And, you know, to ShoWTimE's credit, he did almost make a comeback happen.
Yeah, at one point, after he killed the orbital, the triangle that is, and he got 40 SCVs, and he still had a War Prism flying around, and he was going back up to 6 bases. It kind of looked like it was going somewhere, but if you're talking about getting maximum value out of the fact that you have a mobile army, and your opponent's army is somewhat mobile, but not mega mobile, because the Stalkers alone cannot really take fights, they need backup. Spirit played it out to Terran perfection, man. And I love the multi-brong aggression over and over again. Like, we were sitting here for 6 minutes straight. There are 3-4 fights happening. So which one do you look at? There's like 2 big armies. There is a smaller army. There's that Liberator harass. I really think it's the Libs that obviously turned this game on its head. With or without +2 ship weapons, Liberators are amazing in the late game, and it really showed.
Yeah, it feels so hard. And granted, they've also nerfed them. Liberange only gives you +2 range instead of +3, which is a big deal.
They look good.
A whole number of reasons. But yeah, even still, they're fantastic. And it feels really hard as a Protoss player. Now, if you get to like 5 Tempests or something, sure, you know, you late game Sky Toss, like Classic really likes to do, sure. But if you're on Gateway Protoss, and there are like 6 Liberators, 7 Liberators on the map, it feels really hard to play.
Spirit hit us with the classic Spirit, where he said, 2 minutes, please. This is a bit of a meme among the European pro gamers. A long time ago, Spirit had a series once with Raynor, where Spirit took the 1-0 lead, and he said, 2 minutes, please. And after that second game, Spirit said, be right back, 4 minutes. And Raynor was like, ... what? And Spirit said, very hard games. And Raynor, who was in my house, he turned around, he's like, what did he expect? Like, he thought it was going to be a walk in the park? Like, yeah, we're having a banger best of 3, but what exactly did you think coming into the series? But it also seems that Spirit just wanted to play it safe right now. Not just because that, I think, was a very hard game in his mind, but he's also still a tiny bit concerned about his internet. Fingers crossed that everything goes well, because this series is off to such a good start. I forgot about all those 3 LSBO. This is awesome. This is the StarCraft that you and I sign up for when we get excited to cast.
This is what we deserve. Like, we in fact deserve to get into game 2. It's on Dynasty. And in the upper right, he's up 1. He blew the game open at 7 minutes and spent the next 10 minutes widening the crack. He's playing for Na'Vi. It's Spirit.
And in the bottom left side, the man who's down 0-1 and had an uncharacteristic moment around minute 9 or 10 where it felt panic kicked in and took over. But he still found some time to just calm himself down and make sure that everything is in the right place, and played one hell of a game. It wasn't enough, but it was still impressive to see how he was able to recollect himself within the same game. Berlin International Gaming's ShoWTimE. Yeah, flying a couple Phoenixes over the Terran army, not once, but 3 times within 20 seconds. And then that one Nova, to me, that's a big moment. Normally that happens all the time. A lot of Protoss players, when they are under an immense amount of pressure and they have to multitask, they will just start firing Novas anywhere, right? Find a disruptor, hope it connects, hope that's the right one. But I legit almost never, ever see this in a ShoWTimE game, where there's a disruptor in the middle of nowhere firing a blind Nova that has the potential to blow up your own units. That's, I almost want to say a first for me, BO, because ShoWTimE he's not much of an F2 guy. He has the most complicated group setups, I think, of any Protoss. He uses more army hotkeys than any other Protoss that I know of, so I'm really surprised to see that. I don't know if that's just the stakes of this tournament that makes him do something like that, but if you, in the future, watch ShoWTimE, pay attention to that, because I can guarantee you that almost never, ever, ever happens in a ShoWTimE game.
Yeah, just, you know, sometimes even the best players, they go for some panic. They're like, crap, where's my army? Everything's happening, and, you know, it becomes a problem. Now, I want to ask about this map, because Dynasty is not a map we've seen really at all in the regionals. I think I've cast like 1 game on it over my 4 days of the regionals, and now we're looking at it in a TVP, and more importantly, Spirit, unlike a lot of players, he's actually taking the gold base as his natural, which is terrifying, right? You put some Marines there, or you put some SCVs there, they get plinked down by a bunch of stalkers, and yeah, you can defend it with a tank, but opting to go for this as your natural, it feels kind of greedy, Roddy.
It is a tiny bit greedy, but I think if you get a bunker or an early cyclone and then you just get a tank later on, it's actually all right. It's going to give you an uncomfortable moment here and there where you have to pull the SCVs away, but it's not the craziest thing that I've seen in this matchup. I am a little bit sad to see that ShoWTimE did not go for the max packs approach, where he just turned this map into another equilibrium and said, hey, you give me a gold and a rich Vespian geyser, I'll take it. I'll get a battery in the main, a battery at the very rich Vespian geyser and the gold minerals, and I have equilibrium, and I love it, because every Protoss player loves that. ShoWTimE does not want to go to that school of Protoss play, apparently. He'll just take the regular expand. Yeah, let's see. I don't know how it's going to play out, Bia.
We're going to find out. I think that makes sense, though, right? Like, we talked about how it's vulnerable. And I think in the balance of things, it's more vulnerable for a Protoss player to take than a Terran player to take. You can put a tank there, you can put a bunker, it's manageable. But Terran dropping on the other side, they putting a tank on it just becomes really hard to hold on to for a while. And actually, the cool thing that I've seen, who did this? But I've seen a Protoss player do, is they take it like as their 4th base, so they take the triangular as their 3rd, and then they take it on the outside. So it's no longer nearly as siegeable, and you get the nice benefit of the rich gas as well. And I don't know if that's what ShoWTimE
it's very cool too if you think of opening up with just a couple of Blink Stalkers for map control, then you go Zealot Charge 8 gate, and then you just take the rich Vespian geyser as your 4th base, and then you can actually immediately transition into double or even triple robo. But none of that is happening, so I don't think we have to talk about it. Great play there by Spirit as the medevac shows up to the surprise of ShoWTimE, and every single unit counts in the early game. It's also a cloak bench. He has a follow-up, by the way, that I don't think ShoWTimE has any idea of. I don't think he wants to make a hallucinated Phoenix anytime soon, because he will use Guardian Shield. Spirit really wants to get a cancel on the Nexus. He gets the cancel, and he also drains the energy of the Sentry. And that's a big deal, because ShoWTimE may be inclined to make it immortal here. Thank the Lord for ShoWTimE and all the Protoss fans out there that he's not, because he needs observers, BO.
He does, and luckily he's got observers on the way. Blink is done, and yeah, the 3rd base heavily delayed does not feel good. But at the very least, ShoWTimE has the tech that he needs to go and defend against the Banshees. Now, positioning, vision, that's a different story. But he does have Blink Stalkers. He does have observers. He's probably going to build more pretty soon. And he's got a couple Stalkers on the north side. So technically, this should hold down things for just a little bit. Problem is there are 2 tanks here, right? So even as we talk about how this is vulnerable, you can put the tanks where everything's in range, and without more of a commitment, at this stage in the game, it becomes very hard for the Protoss player to really do too much to that economy.
Yep. What's also very difficult, though, is that if you only make one observer and you rally it to the other side of the map, you're in a bit of a pickle. Now, I hope for ShoWTimE that he can find it immediately. He's going to have to recall this, because this is a cloaked Banshee. Now, the Stalkers are not here, so you just recall the ops. That's awesome, but you still need some anti-air, too. A couple of Stalkers are waiting in the main, but pretty successful cloaked Banshee overall by Spirit. Perhaps our man, Special, Juanito, was onto something, as he keeps on telling us that they never see the Banshee coming, and you know what, BO, I'm starting to believe Juanito. They do never see the Banshee coming.
Well, not in this game, certainly, but at least one of the Banshees is dead. So there's not going to be this threat behind the third base or behind the main base anymore. But, I mean, this level 2 push from Spirit, putting it all together, it's a Banshee, it's 3 tanks. There's a lot here. Charge isn't done. It's just a couple Stalkers. He's going to hallucinate a Warp Prism. Sure. That was scouted immediately. It's not going to, even if you put it across, it's not going to scare Spirit.
He's going to blink on it. I think he has to kind of blink forward, right? He have a shield battery overcharge. I mean, he doesn't want to take the risk, but if you lose the base, I feel like you're almost dead. ShoWTimE has to know that he's waiting. He's warping in one more Stalker, but he is going to end up losing this Nexus in the end. He did not feel that he could justify a blink on top of all these tanks. Potentially, he's right, BO, because maybe all of the Stalkers will just get shredded. But being a 2-base Protoss in a 7-minute game also feels absolutely dreadful.
It really does. You know, upside is that Spirit doesn't have a third base, but it's on the way, and he's got the gold base, so that is a very slim upside. Now, I do like what ShoWTimE's done here, by the way, because he knows the tanks are on the other side. It's like, at least I can try to shut your base down. Unfortunately, he can't handle the attack at the front. Those 5-6 Stalkers may have allowed him to make the difference, so losing the Immortal, losing his position into the natural here, he's got a third base on the way again. He's trying, but, I mean, Spirit's defending at home. Spirit's is hard push in. There are 4 tanks now, 2 Banshees. How? I guess you're waiting for Charge, but that Charge is
He's
not
got one Zealot. He had one Zealot that already died. He's going to have 2 more Zealots. This is it. ShoWTimE is now forced to blink forward. We do have those 2 Zealots showing up, but 2 Zealots is simply not going to be enough to really pose a threat to these Marines. And just like that, it is the Polish Terran Piotr Spirit taking the 2-0 lead in a very big series for him here in the upper bracket of the European Spring Regionals. The Cloak Banshee, I think it was very effective there. Taking the gold was an awesome move. That initial move out, right? That the Reaper, the Adept shades forward. It's like, I can kill the Reaper. Just kidding. Cyclone hops out. The Reaper hops back into the medevac. A single unit really makes a big difference there. And that actually forced ShoWTimE to use Guardian Shield, so ShoWTimE doesn't get the hallucinated Phoenix Scout. And he just didn't really know what he was up against. All game long, Spirit kept on surprising ShoWTimE.
Yeah, and you talk about Dynasty as well. It's a rare map. I think, as we take a look at it, I really like the build from Spirit. Take advantage of the gold base. Don't let the game go late where either you mine out the gold or all of a sudden the Protoss player can put more pressure on it. You also play against the idea of the map and yourself. Dynasty is a massive map. It is a map that takes a long time to get across. You would less expect a Terran player to be aggressive there, and we don't expect Spirit to be aggressive. So all those 3 things together, Piotr going and saying, yeah, I'm going to go hit you with 4 tanks. I'm going to hit you with a 2-base all-in or a 2-base timing. That plays against the map. That plays against everyone's image of who Spirit is. And, I mean, it worked out really well. So I love the series planning.
Yep. Spirit is requesting a 3-minute break now. Earlier we had a 2-minute break. This is a 3-minute break. Maybe if the score goes 2-1, it turns into a 4-minute break. BO, who knows? But yeah, cool build by Spirit. It's not always all about stim. It's not all about combat shield. No, you can actually get a lot of value of these old school pushes that kind of remember us a little bit or remind us a little bit of the 1-1-1 days of Wings of Liberty. This is different because there are expense, but the idea is the same, right? A bunch of basic Marines backing up tanks. Tanks are really good against Stalkers and obviously will be good against Immortals as well. They can actually siege up. And those basic Marines in high enough numbers will still pack a pretty good punch. And ShoWTimE, I feel like you could really see he was hesitating. Do I rely on battery overcharge here? Do I believe that Stalkers with battery overcharge support can keep this Nexus alive? In the end, he decided against it. After feeling the moment you give up the third, though, you're already dead. Especially because Spirit never returned home. He's like, all right, let's keep on going. If you're splitting up units to counterattack, why would I send this big army that's already on the other side of the map home? Why don't I just keep on going forward?
What's also interesting as well when we take a look at this? ShoWTimE's played a lot of games. I mean, both players have played a lot of games going up until this point. Upper bracket. But Spirit actually, he has played every single series in this regional has been against the Protoss. He took down Gunku Banda 3-1 to get into the upper bracket round of 8. His run as he topped his group was Strange, Shadone, Skillis. He has had a lot of practice playing in this matchup, but on the flip side, that should have been a lot of film for ShoWTimE to take a look at and see what's happening. And in fairness, game 1 wasn't Spirit doing something that ShoWTimE didn't expect and getting bopped. It was a couple really good drops and finding that. But game 2, I don't know whether this is something that Spirit has shown before, but you know, there's a lot of footage available.
I do think that game one ShoWTimE was a bit surprised in the end by what Spirit did. I have the feeling that ShoWTimE was maybe anticipating a quick Hellion drop or some sort of a 1-2, right? A double Widowmine drop into some sort of a move out elsewhere. Because if ShoWTimE was expecting that, A, you could have been aggressive with the Phoenixes immediately. B, maybe he could have been greedier. And I think C, the biggest one, if you're 100% certain that your opponent goes Marine, fast expand on the low ground into triple CC, you go for a second gateway or your first gateway out on the map. And I actually think the game is over because you can make a couple stalkers and there's nothing that the Terran can do. So even if Spirit has been forced to play a lot of games against Protoss, he apparently is still surprising ShoWTimE by the way he's going about things and the opening build orders that he's choosing.
Yeah, well, we're going to move on to Alcyone for map number 3. Roddy, it's a 2-0 deficit for ShoWTimE at this point. One with an aggressive game, one with a more standard, or not standard, playing a greedy game isn't particularly standard at this matchup, but a greedier game, right? Now, well, it's the map that has realistically given us some of the best games in the last couple map pools. We're going to have to see whether that trend continues. But for now, game 3. The bottom left here, he's up 2, looking to continue the run of all one-sided series. All today. He's for Na'Vi. It's Spirit.
And this man is going to try to stop that once and for all. First game was excellent. I would say 10 out of 10 entertainment. The second one was just a bit brutal, unfortunate. Nothing really went his way. Can we turn things around? It is the experience, the German Protoss representing Berlin International Gaming. This is ShoWTimE.
It's gotta happen, Roddy, right? Like, we are 5 series. We are 5 series into our 6 today, and 4 of them thus far have all been 4-0s, 3-0s. Surely, and given the quality of game 1, surely this isn't another 3-0. Surely ShoWTimE's gonna be able to bring it back.
The funny thing is, though, we didn't really do predictions, but if you would have put me on the spot and be like, Roddy, what are you feeling? If this is indeed going to be a 3-0, who is it going to favor? I would have actually picked ShoWTimE, though. So if this is a 3-0 for Spirit, I will not be as upset as perhaps I should be with all the 3-0s, because I find that a surprising trio. And I know there will be a few people saying, like, but it's Terran against Protoss. It's like, yeah, but Protoss have been doing all right in this matchup. And historically, in the last few times they went up against each other, ShoWTimE has done well against Spirit, old patch or this patch. I would be very impressed if Piotr is able to get a 3-0 here. So I guess I can find some peace in that conclusion.
Yeah, you know, Aligulac, going into this series, Aligulac gave ShoWTimE an 85% chance to win the game.
Yeah, well, that says enough, right? So if this would be a 3-0 for Spirit, I'm like, yeah, that's sad, but that's also pretty insane because an underdog, and I do think it's fair to call him an underdog, if Aligulac says it and Big Roddy says it, and you know what, BO, I'm going to speak for you, you're going to say it too. 3-0 for the underdog, that's still crazy, and that's still pretty awesome.
Thank you for speaking for me. So now if we're right, you get all the credit, and if we're wrong, people still blame me for being wrong. And you got it perfectly, you're right. Well done. But I think you're right. I would have picked ShoWTimE as well. I think classically he's been very good in the matchup. Classically he's done very well against ShoWTimE. But you know, sometimes you eat your Wheaties, and Spirit's looking pretty solid today.
ShoWTimE is going to go back to that Stargate opening that he went for in game 1 where, yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't think we can say that he lost because of the Stargate, but that mistake when he had the 5 Phoenix are so important in that phase of the game just to control the tempo. Not so much in the straight up fight, even though they do really help out. You can lift Marauders, you can lift Marines in small numbers, you can punish medevacs. It's just nice to have those Phoenixes for map control. That's obviously kind of where it went wrong. ShoWTimE is going to switch it up, and he's going to go for an Oracle. I don't love Oracles in this matchup, BO, but how do you feel about the Oracle first?
It's weird, right? Because one Oracle just doesn't do a lot, especially ever since they gave, SCVs 45 HP instead of 40, so it's 3 shots instead of 2. Again, that was obviously an anti-adept play back in the day, but ever since they did that, it just doesn't feel like Oracles are significant because it takes so much time to kill a single worker. But what it does give you, it gives you map control, gives you vision, gives you stasis traps to make it a little harder for the Terran player to move out. So, you know, if you're just getting one and you're doing it for vision and scouting and everything else, sure, fine, I'll buy it. But if the goal is here is like, I need to get damage done, it just doesn't really feel all that great. This Widow Mine is just gonna knock it.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I was about to say, I was like, well, Spirit's army is a little bit out of position, and then I see the line. I was like, oh no, what? It's really one of them. Yes, it is one of them. And this has happened historically quite a few times throughout ShoWTimE's career. I think of many moments where I was always pumped for him against Maru, where I was like, yeah, Maru is the favorite, but ShoWTimE is really good at the moment. And then he would go Oracles, and somehow they would find the only Widow Mine that's on the map, like every single freaking game. And ShoWTimE at this point realizing that he's in a bit of trouble after losing that Oracle for nothing. So he goes for, I would say, the least ShoWTimE play of all time, the hidden expand, Bio.
I mean, if the entire goal of this push is to break the third base down, not expanding where everyone would expect you to is kind of a brilliant play. Now, you got to be careful because, well, suddenly you're not wasting a lot of damage on the third base, which means there's more damage applied to the army, which means maybe your natural gets broken. We're going to have to see. But at the very least, the heads-up decision-making here to say, yeah, you know, I'm just not going to give you this target.
He can blink. He can blink, by the way. He needs something against the Cyclones. Does warp in 3 units there, and at least this is not the Cyclone of the previous patch, so it doesn't actually wipe out the entire main immediately. This went better for ShoWTimE, and a misrallied Cyclone for Spirit, okay. Where it should have been great for Spirit is now a bit less great, but there is that Liberator already causing a lot of lost mining time. 5 workers going down. BO, ShoWTimE really needs to get it together.
He does, but at the very least, he's not dead. You know, he didn't lose the third base. He's got his third base done. And that's, you know, a lot better. This was committed aggression from Spirit. He committed 3 Cyclones and a bunch of bio, and I don't think any medevacs went down necessarily, but he committed a lot to this attack, and now the Stalkers on the other side. Blink is done. Certainly 5 SCVs will fall, and there's no bunker here. It's not ready just yet. This is a really nice timing for ShoWTimE to try to get some damage done. Problem is, Liberator still found the third base, despite it being as hidden as it was, so another probe goes down here. But ShoWTimE, as rough as that, what, 4 to 5 minute time period, 4:30 to, or 5 to 6 minute time period was, I don't think he's too upset right now. He's got his third base up. His probe economy is not incredible, but he at least balanced it out, got as many workers, killed as many workers as he lost, and his tech is developing.
I think he's kind of upset, Bio. I'm sorry. I just don't think that this is a scenario that ShoWTimE was planning for. ShoWTimE normally really is a prep guy, as Spirit has to kill one of his own add-ons, by the way, in the main, as the tank was stuck for some weird reason. He killed his own tech lab, okay. Doesn't seem very stuck to me, but apparently it was. Terran bases are weird. This is just not comfortable for ShoWTimE to play, because the third base is so far away from the natural. His army, by the way, 13 Stalkers and a Zealot, excuse me, and a Phoenix. That's just not an army that can really fight straight up. It can control the tempo of the game a tiny bit, but there is going to be a moment that he's going to be forced to fight, and cannot fight this amount of bio with Stim finishing up in the near future. He's going to need some fantastic, good old-fashioned gateway play. He's going to have to go full Adel Zealot on us and just spam Stalkers and Zealots for a while, and yeah, maybe get some value out of that rich Vespian geyser.
I was going to say, there's a timing right now where the main base is pretty exposed and Blink isn't done, or Stim isn't done. 10 seconds. Like, if he doesn't miss the Blink there, because only half the Stalkers went up, if he doesn't miss the Blink, he can get on top of Stim. And, you know, Roddy, losing 2 or 3 Stalkers to like 2 tank shots to get Stim down, to delay that timing from Spirit is by a significant amount of time, is a really big deal. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it happen. Liberators continue to be annoying, targeting on sentries and probes and whatever else they can find. So, I mean, ShoWTimE's got presence on the map right now. He's doing a nice job, hopefully, of delaying this third base just a little bit longer. But, I mean, this surround that Spirit's got is, there's nowhere to go. All the Stalk, you got to recall or something. Blink your way on the other side of this. And, again, he kind of misses the Blink. That's more dead Stalkers than he would have liked to deal with. Spirit is just, yeah, he's running roughshod.
And don't forget that Liberator that was sieging up in the top side of the map also killed the sentry. So now ShoWTimE cannot rely on a Guardian Shield. He does find this tiny drop in the center of the map. Stalkers blink back, but Spirit is just grabbing almost everything that he has. Not sure Spirit sees that gateway. He saw a pylon on the left, but he doesn't care. Spirit just wants to fight. He says, I think you only have gateway units, and that is correct. That is all that ShoWTimE has. He's got 20 Zealots. Maybe with a cool surround, he can maybe use that pylon, right? That's on the left side, and get an immediate surround on the tanks. If there was ever a fight, maybe this is the fight, but I'm just afraid that the Terran army is a lot better than the Protoss army here, and ShoWTimE is in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, you talk about a cool surround. That was way too little, way too late. Spirit just going from end to end. I can't believe how much better Spirit has looked than ShoWTimE in this series. And yeah, you know, some of it was maybe catching his opponent off guard or throwing weird builds out. At the end of the day, Spirit's up 70 army supply to 27. He's been getting all the damage he could possibly want. And ShoWTimE, he doesn't look like ShoWTimE. He doesn't look like this player that attacking in is really, really hard. And I don't know what he's supposed to do at this point. It's a bunch of stalkers, a couple zealots against a bunch of stimmed bio. I mean, knocking down the reinforcements are really nice. Certainly. Is it worth a base? Hell no.
I mean, he does have 1,500 gas in the bank. Maybe we can drop a Templar Archive since Spirit is so marine heavy. I feel like if there was ever a quick storm moment, I'd say it's this game where you do have your hands on that rich Vespian geyser and you know you're going to have a ridiculous amount of gas or maybe a couple of Archons. Spirit does need to be a tiny bit careful that he doesn't get force-fielded in, but the marine numbers are simply way too high. It's another 3-0. Don't know what's happening today. What I do know is that this was a monstrous performance by Spirit, who had to dig really, really deep in game one. And after that, it just felt that...